So it's finally time to talk about my trip to Japan. So hopefully this won't be too long, but this is my first time doing this, so we'll definitely see how it goes. So of course, how did I get to Japan? I actually had a layover. I flew to Vancouver, and then from Vancouver I flew into Haneda Airport. It's total flight times like 14 hours ish. If you're wondering what areas did I visit in Japan, well, here are some places, all the blue stamps in there, and I marked some general areas if you're interested on Love Live Central places. More specifically in Tokyo, where you move away from the greater map where Aqua was in Numazu, you get to see a little bit clusters of where news happened, Leela, as well as Nichikaku. So these are definitely some areas I would recommend depending on where you went. For my trip, I basically picked an area, basically a ward of Japan, and visited one area for one day, visit another area the second day, and etc. So I'll definitely be able to talk about each of these places, but I'll be going day by day, and with about 10 days, that's more or less how it's going to go. So I'll give you timestamps if you just want to jump to certain places. So let's first talk about where I stayed. So we can go ahead and zoom in. That is Shimbashi Station. That's the train station I use the most because that's closest to me, and this heart location is more specifically the hotel I stayed in. This one is known as Kandeo Hotels. It's a chain, and we are in the Shimbashi location. So I can zoom in all the way to give an idea of what this building looked like. I think I stood in the 10th floor, and you actually entered from the side here, right over here. So this is a street that I was able to get a look at, and usually I just went down this way to go to the train station. And here is the place where I actually had the first meal in Japan, because it came in late. Get a good look at that. It's Sukiya, which is one of the fast foodie kind of chains. So I'm the one who on the right, and I just got a kind of a gyudon dish, meat, rice, green beans, etc. Overall pretty good, and I got some tofu and some soup with it as well. And then after that I went to Konbini because I had to see what was in there, and I did actually see the energy jelly. I didn't get it this day, but I did get it at the airport before I came back, and more or less it was a lot more liquidy than I was going to think. There was some jelly in there, but I was expecting to be a lot more jelly throughout. Pretty liquidy, but I would say not too shabby, honestly, and I could see this be semi-filling and why some people use this to beat a sentence for quite some time. And this is my view of the hotel and right before I went to sleep. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into the first day of being in Japan. So for the first day, I decided I was going to walk towards Akihabara, and while walking there, I noticed a place called Do Italian, and a bunch of other places seem to love throwing English words without actually making a whole lot of sense. Yeah, so for breakfast, I went to Mr. Donut, just a bunch of typical donut places, and the one that definitely caught my eye was this, the Sumiko Gurashi, which they have these kind of cute stuff, animals, and whatnot. And you know, it's actually not too pricey, so that was definitely fun to have some of these kind of foods. After Mr. Donut, I walked and I noticed Don Kute, however you say it, or Donkey for short. So I walked in, got a few things from there, and of course I was hearing this high-pitched girl in the background, which of course was Ruby, and I ended up seeing Love Live Sunshine. So I'm truly now in Japan now that I see the advertisements for this. I continued walking there. I saw Onitsuka Tiger, so you know, Onitsuka. I think they sell shoes. And then I got to Tokyo Station. So I ended up going into Tokyo Station and talking to some people, trying to figure out how do I work with the transportation system in Japan. More or less, you gotta get a card. Which one you get, it's up to you. There's Pasmo and Suica, which are the two main ones in this general area. But the only one they were willing to give to me was the Welcome Suica card, because apparently they stopped offering Pasmo and Suica at this time. Maybe just because they don't like me, I don't know. But more or less, you load money on this card, can only use cash only, and you scan when you go in and you scan when you go out. pretty simple, but also a pretty nice building. So the first place I decided to go to was Akihabara, and right outside the train station, literally this image is from the train station, you get to see the building UDX. And that, of course, is UTX in Love Live School Idol Project. This is where Odaiba attends. They say it's a school, and this, of course, inspired the Muse and Honoka, and eventually became a thing. So you got a video of me showing what it looks like. They have a video playing on it, just some advertisements. But overall, it's a nice big building right outside the station, so you can right away know that you are here. As for what's more specifically in there, not much. It's more of a conference kind of stuff. I quickly walked in. I looked at the directory. Nothing that looked very exciting as far as I could tell. But this is what it looks like on the inside, if you're wondering. And no, it's not actually a school. Nice building, but overall it's nearby the main street for Akihabara. And of course you can see the things like Gigo, you see some Genshin ads, a bunch of anime ads, and a bunch of streets where you can go walk around and see Gachapon and the skill crane machines just everywhere, and just a bunch of anime shops and video game shops. Of course, this is probably one of the big places I would recommend to people who are very interested in anime in general, because there's just almost a limitless supply of shops that do a bunch of different things for anime, and they're each shop do something a little bit different, and they got levels. We're talking about many floors of just strictly for anime stuff. So this is definitely a big place I would highly recommend for most of you to go ahead and at least visit, because you could spend a whole day just looking at a bunch of these stores, which that's what I did. And if you look over here, there's a place called Sushiro, which that is where I decided to have lunch for that day. So what is Sushiro? Well, of course it's going to be sushi, and it's actually downstairs, but they have conveyor belt sushi. So of course I had to try because I was too curious. So how does it work? Of course, they actually have an English menu, but they give you this tablet that you can go ahead and click on a bunch of different pages and choose what you want. Each of them ranging for a variety of prices. There's 210 yen, 390 yen, 150 yen, depending on how complex the dish is, and they tell you to order 2 at most. But basically, they have the top level, which will then have sushi come down when it's ready to order. And they have their own bunch of different slots. So it not necessarily will stop at you, because it might be for someone else, but if it does, they will go ahead and stop right in front of you, which then you can go ahead and grab. So pretty cool place, and it wasn't that crazy expensive either. So definitely a great place I would recommend you to try if this interests you. After getting some sushi, of course, I went back and explored more stores, and this time I actually participated in some skill crane machines, won a few things. I only won a few things. I didn't try everything out there. Most of the stuff I saw is like, yeah, I can get elsewhere. I did go to a Super Potato, which they had a big Game Boy, which is kind of cool. Basically a retro store that has a bunch of stuff in there, which I thought was pretty nice as well. But after a lot of buying merchandise and screwing around, I decided to go to another place, and this one being Takemura. So, to get from the Akihabara hub, which has all the stuff that you can see around here with all the anime stores that I've gone to, how do I get to Takemura? Well, to get to Takemura, you have to go across one of these bridges, the Mansei Bridge, or this one, and you would see Takemura is over here. So the bridge that I take, and the one you can see in anime, is this one, the Shohei Bridge. So I can go ahead and zoom in, and you get to see this, which, hey, doesn't that look familiar? So by taking this route from Akiba, which is more back here, you're gonna go and cross, and you would just continue down this way, which is very much the path that I took to eventually get to Takemura. Let's see. Yep, and that's the very same path that I took to get to this building, which of course very much looks like the building that Honoka lived in. So I'm sure some of you are asking, what does it look like on the inside? Well, first and foremost, the place said they did not want a lot of videos or photography. I did take a few, so keep in mind that it's very limited what I have. They did have an English menu, and of course they serve sweets and tea and all that stuff. So the thing I got here is one of their confectionaries. It's like ice cream and bean paste and a bunch of other sweets like fruits, and they give you a little sauce that you can go ahead and pour on, and get the whole entire thing. So that definitely looks, it's actually pretty good. In terms of the interior, this is what it looks like. I had to be semi-discreet with the video to show what it looks like. But there's definitely a good amount of people in here, and they have people who are sitting and waiting at all the way to the right, where they will serve you. Overall, a pretty nice place. It's about 10-ish, 7-ish dollars for a nice bowl of sweets, so I definitely recommend if you ever get the opportunity. Of course, also nearby is the Kandamuten Shrine and the famous staircases that leads you up to there. So the Kandamuten Shrine, as you can see over here, there is a few ways to enter depending on which side you enter. Since Akihabara is more this area, it's definitely more recommended to go over the Yojin Otazaka stairs, and there's a good reason why. So if you go ahead and zoom in that location, you'll be entering from this side, but this leads you to the stairs that the girls in Muse would climb. So yes, I did climb this myself. It's not that crazy hard. It will take you 20-30 seconds, but if you do this a lot, it can definitely be really tiring. But once you get past here, you get to look at the shrine itself. There's this building here. I didn't actually go in myself, but this is the general area you get to walk around and look at. The first time I came, of course, was actually at night, so the videos you'll be seeing of this won't be as clear, but I'll give you a spoiler alert. I did come back here later, so if you wanted to see this what it looks at day, I will come back later and show you what it looks like. But this is the good general area where you can go and see in the shrine. So unlike a lot of other shrines, this one's actually open 24/7, so I was able to visit at night because they don't close this off. They of course sell a bunch of these amulets there where you can go to the counters and buy them, and of course as well you could find all these wooden plaques that are placed on here, just like very much like other shrines. Of course, this one is for Love Live, so you will find some Love Live based artwork that people drew on them. You also see people put their wishes and notes on there, and of course, if you want, you could also buy some of these amulets, these good luck charms, in the vending machine as well. They had a shop in the side, but that was actually closed off at the night. I will actually come back and show you that later. And they had here where you would draw your fortunes. And if you got a bad fortune, you're supposed to tie something and basically leave your bad luck there. I was actually able to find one where someone had a nosebleed one, so I was trying to see if I can buy that one, but I couldn't find one, unfortunately. But as for the main shrine itself, you can go here and you can, throw your coins, clap and bow, and yeah, just like very much like a bunch of other shrines. It looks really nice. So that covers mostly what I did for Akihabara. And, there's a bunch of stuff there. I didn't specifically go into detail a lot of places, because a lot of places is just you go into the store, they have anime stuff. I don't know how much I need to talk about or show about that. The main ones that I told you about before, the Kanda Shrine's over here, the Takemono is over here, and this is where we have a boatload of the stuff for just anime in general. The Sushiro was here, and the station, of course, is just right here, which is very close to the UDX. This is where, if you want to see that as well. But for some specific anime stuff, places, there's the gamers, there is the Ami Ami, we got the, what used to be the iconic Sega building, I think that says Gigo now. There's some character Gmart, but it's all mainly on this one street here, which is really close to the station, so you just walk over and boom, it's everything here is just every store is anime. If you want some video game stuff, they also got that as well. So hitting up the street will give you a lot of great stuff, but don't just stay to the street, because there are stuff like on Mandarake that you can walk across just not that far away. And of course, there's also a gachapon hall. If you like putting in generally 200, 300, 400, 500 yen, you can put that in the machine and a random ball comes out with something based on a bunch of things, but you get a little ball and see what you get. So they have an obsessive amount of those in this area. But yeah, so that is this area. So for this place, what I recommend is if you are a gamer B, you are an anime fan, or C, if you're a Love Live fan, all 3Ds will hit you very well. Of course, Love Live for the Squad Project Muse, they are based mostly in Akihabara, so if you want to hit some of the stuff there, you can find it in this area as well. So this will give you a lot of bang for your buck, but this is of course is generally where a lot of the weebs like me go. So hitting this area can get you a lot of stuff, especially if you want to get a lot of anime merch. This is generally your place. I'll probably focus more on secondhand stores because that's generally where you can get a lot of bigger deals. So this area can get you a lot of bang for your buck here. Don't worry, I will come back later and talk more about this place.
Shibuya.
On the second day, I went to Shibuya. Shibuya City is located here, as you can see in the red circle. That's a good amount of stuff where I did. Very close to Harajuku, which I'll get to tomorrow. Here you're going to see is the very famous iconic crossing, where it is crowded every single time we have the light go. And of course, this is known as the Shibuya Scramble Crossing, or some people just call it the Shibuya Crossing. But it's located right outside of the station, as you can see in the top left area. If you're wondering how I got this video, there's a Starbucks on the second floor, and you can get a pretty good view, and actually a lot of people like looking at this crossing from the second floor for Starbucks. And if you're wondering what it looks from the ground level, here is a short video of a bunch of people crossing at ground level. Then I went and saw an Anya Forger ad for Boss Coffee, so I thought it was kind of funny. And here's a look at the Shibuya Station itself, and very close to the Shibuya Station itself, you'll see the Hachiko Memorial Statue. It's a statue of a dog that basically was very loyal to its owner. Even after it died, it kept coming to this area, and a lot of people really enjoyed the loyalty, so he got a statue. So what a good boy. Then I saw a place called Miyashita Park. There might be some interesting things in there. I just saw, hey, it's got Miyashita in the name. But to the side, there's a lot of cool shops on there, and I'm sure it'll be really nice at nighttime. And then I saw one of these passes. I don't know if this was in Love Live Superstar, to be honest with you. Probably was, potentially. I don't know, like Mirai Yoho Hallelujah, or the ending theme, Mirai wa Kaze Yoni. Kind of started right before that, so I don't know for sure. But hey, it looks nice. You get a nice view of the streets, and there's a few of it here, so I'm sure one of these are right. As I continued walking along, I saw this cool building. I think there's some Disney stuff related into that, but not entirely sure. But the place I went to is Nintendo Tokyo, which is also actually right next to the Pokemon Center. This one, the Shibuya version. And inside there's a bunch of stores in this building. This is the 6th floor, I believe. And you could see a bunch of Nintendo stuff. In the Pokemon store, you can get a bunch of Pokemon merchandise, a bunch of the different Pokemon plush, and other accessories in there. There's also a Capcom store. So I was like, oh, I know Capcom. And they have Monster Hunter, and I saw that they had this posing statue. So yeah, of course, I decided I'm going to do this. I played Monster Hunter. I thought it was kind of silly. And then outside, they had a Mario statue. So I thought, yeah, sure, why not? But this is the kind of stuff that I got there. Got some cups, got some Pokemon plush, got some candies, or cookies I should say. So why not? These are kind of some stuff that I thought was kind of nice. So for day 3, that's right, I actually visited 2 places, Harajuku, which is still kind of Shibuya City, and Shinjuku City. So first and foremost, I hit the Takeshita Street, which is Harajuku, and you kind of get this entrance in the front where it's right outside the station, and you kind of walk through. There's a bunch of stores left and right. Yeah, there's McDonald's, but there's also a bunch of other stores that I thought were pretty nice to visit for. I went and saw there's a bunch of gachapon, but the thing that caught my attention was the Boca Bella Verita. Why does that grab my attention? Well, I guess Ruby went and saw the Mouth of Truth, or maybe she just went to Harajuku, but I felt that's kind of funny. They had this thing here, just read your pulse, and that's just a silly kind of, I don't know, machine. And then I went through a side path. I feel like these were showing up at some point in the anime. Can't be for sure, but they definitely feel like it. Maybe I'm wrong. They also had a micro pig place, so meat pig I guess is what they call it, but it was a cafe. And then there's a Korean hot dog place. I just found that interesting in Japan, but I guess Korea's close. But getting back on the main street, I'm sure some of you are wondering, did you see the Nesoberi staircase? In fact, I did. And this is actually right beneath the Shiba Cafe, and I believe that's on the 3rd floor. But you get to see a line of Nesoberis down to the basement floor. So what could that possibly be? Well, as I walked down, I went and basically counted every single girl they have for Love Live. They got a bunch of posters on the walls leading down to this place. So clearly this place is Love Live themed, right? Yeah, it kind of is, but it's not a Love Live store if you're wondering. On the inside is actually a hair salon. I've already seen people tell me this, but I had to see myself. And as you can see on the inside, there are people getting their hair done. And I'm guessing if you really want, you can say I want Ellie's or Monkey's hairstyle. They'll probably do that. But they have a lot of Nesoberis everywhere. And they have other anime, like the quintessential quintuplets on there that you can see as well. But clearly there is a big focus on the Love Live franchise. And you'll see a bunch of, I'm assuming custom or art for the characters. So if you wanted to use that as a reference, say, oh, I want the hairstyle. So definitely this could be a really nice place for girls who are looking to get their hair done and say, yo, I want Yoshiko's hairstyle. So hey, if you're in the place, it might be pretty interesting. And yes, I did go to a dog cafe, not the one above, because I found a dog cafe before that, but I did play with the dogs and that was kind of fun. And then when I continue walking down the main street, I noticed a bunch of Nesoberis on that 2nd floor. What are they? Well, this is strictly just Liella, but there was a pop-up shop where they were selling a bunch of stuff. I got the May acrylic figure you can see in the middle there. So I was like, yeah, sure. Not super cheap, but hey, support the artists who support the franchise. And then, yes, of course, I decided to take a photo with the Nesoberis. Who do you think I am? Of course I'm going to take a photo with these girls. And then there's the Pompopurin Cafe for those who are Sanrio fans, but the wait was pretty long, so I didn't go. Here's another one of those kind of things you can walk over. And I was trying to once again see if I can find the actual crosswalk for Liella, but I don't know. Anyways, I did go on top of the Omohara no Mori, which is a rooftop, but on top of the rooftop it looks familiar. That's because in episode 12 of season 1 for Love Live Superstar, that's where Kano met Sanipa. And I think this is on the 13th floor, and it's a little difficult to get up there. Once you get up there, you are rewarded with a nice view. And it's not lit up like it was in the anime, because that was done in the winter. But you get a pretty nice greenery area, and you get a nice view as well. You actually got some plants growing here for, I don't know, what reason. And there also is a coffee shop, I think Bill's nearby. Here's another crosswalk. It's gotta be one of these, I don't know. But I figured, hey, it's another crosswalk. Anyways, I went and started walking towards the shrine that was nearby. And they have, I think, these are sake barrels. But anyways, I got to the Meiji Jingu. Here is one of the other shrines we visited. And this particular shrine, I was able to go and buy some of these good luck charms. They have a variety of different ones. I bought a few of them. And one of them was hope for good luck, because, you know, I need them for my gacha pulls, of course. But this was a nice shrine. It definitely takes a bit of walking, but it is on the way to the next area I was walking to. The day was really hot, so I decided to get a smoothie and put it into the 7-Eleven machine. And then we eventually got to Shinjuku, and that has a big city. They even have that 3D billboard with a video like that one had a cat. But this area is known for its nightlife and a bunch of different lights. We saw a Kopenchan building for penguins, so we went and saw that shop. And one that I found really cool was the Namco Tokyo. This is a part of the Tokyu Kabukicho Tower, but they had this really cool floor where it was had all these kind of retro neon lights and a bunch of gachapon, as well as the skill crane machines and a bunch of games that you can go play. It looked really cool, and there's just a lot of stuff in there, so this definitely worth a visit. And they also got their own kind of Namco stuff there as well if you're interested in with cafes and such. So this is definitely a nice place. Also, the floor below had a really nice looking, I don't know, Chinese kind of looking area as well for food. So I definitely recommend going there potentially as well. Where I did end up eating was actually at Koko Ichibana for curry, because I needed to try Japanese curry that's actually from Japan. Pretty dang good. They have a bunch of different choices. They got an English menu on a tablet. You know the system. Go ahead and pick what you want and order, and they'll deliver it to you. It was getting late, so there's one last thing I wanted to visit in Shinjuku, which was Golden Guide. Some of you might be familiar with this. They actually said don't take photos and videos, so I guess it's the only photo I have. And I don't know, it's not really for me. So they got, 3 lanes that are pretty narrow. On both sides they have a bunch of bars, and each one is a little different, but they're all small and cramped. They fit about 5 to 6 people at most, and they just serve different varieties of alcohol. And some say no smoking, some say smoking, and also the place says no smoking in general for Golden Guy, but yeah, I could definitely smell the smoke. And there's just a lot of people drinking and being social in there. And some are saying we want foreigners, some are saying we don't want foreigners, but that's more or less it. It definitely wasn't a thing for me, but I at least wanted to see the area, and potentially that might be something interesting to you. And oh yeah, I decided to get 2 shirts because I had to. I just like the design of these, but I got these in Harajuku from Takeshita Street. For day 4, I went to Odaiba, and of course the first thing to get into Odaiba is the Rainbow Bridge. You don't have to take this way, but of course I had to take this way and take the train across. So you can see as across, when you go across the bridge, you even get to see that there are multiple ways. Trains the way I took, but you could also take a bus to the side as well. As you get on there, we took off the first stop, and that was going to be near the seaside. So we had a bunch of buildings on there. This one had a big circuit building, which you'll see soon enough. And I walked by, and there was Aqua City, and then I realized that was a pretty short walk to New York. So apparently they have a Statue of Liberty here as well, but it also gets you a nice view of the Rainbow Bridge in the background. So this is definitely a spot I would recommend visiting. It's right across the water, and it's right next to one of the train stops that you can take. So not only you get a nice view of the bridge, you get a nice view of the Statue of Liberty. I did not see the bridge at night because apparently it's only white, and that's just how it is during the summer. If you want to see a light up rainbow, you do it at the winter months. When you can go and walk around, there's the Odaiba Seaside Park, and there's also a pier nearby. So if you want to take a riverboat cruise on that body of water there, you can, and you can go all the way to places to like Asakusa, which I actually did later. So I'll talk about this more in a future day. So continue on. This is a nearby shopping center, and in that shopping center I was able to see a bunch of things in there. So of course the shopping center is in Odaiba, but nice sign if you want to take a picture with that. But in this area they had a kind of a retro area where they have a bunch of old arcade games, as well as a bunch of things you can see in the festival. I saw Yoshiko here as a charm, so I was like, oh, it says good luck. So if you're wondering what Yoshiko means, but you could do some traditional games like picking up the fish with that stick, and there's a bunch of old machines that had dispensed drinks, and they also have a takoyaki kind of museum almost. They had an area where you can order different types of takoyaki. There's like 6 different places. So the one I got had curry, soup udon, takoyaki, and some other ones like a traditional one, so you can go ahead and eat that. One thing I noticed nearby the takoyaki restaurants is they had a big octopus, and of course when I saw their advertisement down there showing Cuckoo, so of course this is a reference to the episode where Cuckoo was wearing the octopus on top of her head because they're working a takoyaki stand. So I thought that was really cute, so I decided, yeah, I'm gonna go get that. I have been bribed by Love Live, so I actually did get that, and I have it in my house. Now to the big meet, and I took the train to the next area. You get to see Diver City Tokyo in there with round 1, as well as the Gundam statue. So of course you can think of Diver Diva, and Also, yes, they literally actually showed us in the anime in the very beginning of it, so you know where you are. You are in Niji area. So of course, I took the train all the way to the train station called Tokyo Big Sight, which of course leads to Tokyo Big Sight. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about the thing in front of it. It was called sawing. So there's just this big garden, and they just have a big saw that's sawing. So I guess that's why they call it sawing. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, let's talk about Tokyo Big Sight. Of course, Tokyo Big Sight, if this is not somehow familiar to you, this is of course the area where they have used to inspire the school for Nijigasaki High School. And as you can see, there are a lot of striking similarities to this school. So this building is pretty big. I think it was like 13 floors in there, and it's got 4 pillars in there, but most of the floors don't actually exist. It kind of just skips a lot. So if you wanted to see a little layout, this is kind of it. There's actually a bunch of buildings that kind of go into wings and halls. So the actual main big site that you're looking at isn't really the big chunk of it. There's a bunch of different sectors in there. Like an east wing and a west wing and that kind of stuff. And you can go walk through around. This is right beneath the actual Tokyo Big Sight itself, but here is one of the entrances you can go through. And of course, it's a pretty nice place. And yeah, I guess they have Starbucks as well for all those people who like Starbucks. So this is a very nice looking place. But no, it actually isn't a school. They do have a decent amount of food in there, so if you wanted to go and see a bunch of food. But what does it look on the inside though? So of course, in the anime they have shown the inside a lot, but is this actually how it looks like? Well, as you can see, it looks pretty open and spacious, but it also kind of has a feeling of it could be a convention center, and well, the real life one is a convention center. So yes, actually they looks very much like it was in the anime. This was a Saturday, I believe, so it wasn't crazy busy. Places of this convention center were closed off, so I couldn't go to many areas, but I could try to show you what I was able to see, and you can walk some areas. I mostly stayed into the central area. They have a Lawson's in there, and there was a little shop in there, but it's not like a crazy amount of much stuff in there. I try to explore around as much as I can and see a bunch of different areas, but again, I was closed off from some areas, which is a little unfortunate. I did go into the elevator all the way to the top, but the actual rooftop was closed, so this is the most I can show you. I'm sure the view would be nice, but I'm not allowed in there. I did walk around to the upper areas here, so I can get a little look at, of course, the main area, but as well as some of the areas that were closed off. They have a kind of a water covering that bottom floor there, so I think that looked kind of nice. And this is kind of looking at the area that was closed off for me. I guess, I don't know, for they're probably preparing for some stuff in the convention there. Maybe it would have been smart if I came on not a weekend, but oh well. That's more or less the gist of the Tokyo Big Sight. They do have stairs that lead up there if you want to walk that way, and kind of this open area where I'm sure at some point they showed this in the anime, but I'm too lazy to find where that is. So the next thing for me to do is walk to the next area, which I walked straight away from Tokyo Big Sight to the area that on the way I was able to see Ariake Coliseum. This is just some leftover buildings from the Olympics, so if you care to see those, there was tennis in there, but the place I was more interested in was Small Worlds Tokyo. So what is the whole purpose of Small Worlds, and why is there a Gundam statue? Well, there's Gundam stuff in there, but the whole idea of Small Worlds is take some real life places and shrink them down a lot. For example, you could see a bunch of villages, or you can see some scenery, some people interacting with stuff. So this is kind of a museum that has a boatload of this kind of stuff, which was actually kind of cool to see. And they still had some nice stuff on display. So I'll kind of give you a good gist of what's mostly in there. As you can see, there's a lot of cool stuff. I didn't really find a whole lot of Love Life stuff here, but I did want to mention this because I did notice something in the middle. If you can go ahead and zoom in here, you can notice they had a Nozomi clock. I've seen these before for sale. I just found it kind of funny. This is a staff area where people make their own stuff, so this is not necessarily for things being on display, but I had to show that. Anyways, back to the actual museum. On the 3rd floor, they had the modeled space center for your Americans. They have they do a simulation where they had the rocket launch off and they speak as if they had a countdown in their Japanese English. It's not good enough to fool anyone really, but I think it's a cool demonstration, and you get to see model areas of a bunch of space stuff. They have, you know, more modern stuff, and then they have some futuristic stuff in there. And of course, they also had my favorite Japanese person, JFK, who went and said some pretty important quotes about getting men on the moon. Pretty nice Japanese guy, if you ask me, so it was nice to see that. In the next area, you got to see a bunch of modeled cities, and they have different styles. Some are more fantasy, some are going to be a little bit more modern of some real areas, and some are steampunk. The one that I probably liked the most was they have the Japanese kind of city with a really nice feeling, and they have things moving like cars across, and there's just a lot of detail in here, which was really cool. They also had a video playing in the front. If you just press a button, it would activate. But there's a lot of attention to detail here, and there's a bunch of small people walking around. This is definitely one of my favorites that I was able to see here. They had a glass city, I guess. They also had an exhibit for Sailor Moon, so I think they recreated the city for Sailor Moon. Not really familiar with that. And then they also had the airport kind of simulation, so they have all the buildings, but they actually had moving planes that would go ahead and dock in the terminals, as well as doing a takeoff sequence. So you get to see the plane, it start revving up the engines, they play the noise as it revs up, and then they will have it take off. So just kind of like how they had the rockets take off at the Space Center, you could actually get to watch the planes take off as well. They also have all the things light up and all that. So this is a kind of a cool simulation, and one of the things that I thought was really cool this place, as it gives a good representation how things work in real life, of course shrunk down on a model scale. I also found it kind of interesting or cool, I don't know, that they had an airport lounge right next to it, so if you wanted to sit and chill, they had that as well. But this was definitely really cool as well. And next to that area, they had a bunch of modeled places and houses or businesses. This one mostly for making food and sweets and bakeries. And then the next area, it had a Gundam statue base coming out of the ground, as well as a area where they had the Gundam statues coming in and out of the base. They also had another big model city. I don't know what this is from. Gundam maybe? I don't know. It was connected to the Gundam area, but I don't know this area very well. I don't really know Gundam. But I guess if you're a Gundam fan, this could be another place that it would be definitely interesting for you to visit. So after those big modeled statues, we got another area where they had models of real life places. So this one is, I believe, the Shibuya station. I actually literally walked here before I actually came here, as you know, I talked about Shibuya earlier. So I did walk around this area. I went and walked on the top. I didn't go to the subway station in that area, so I can't tell you if this actually what it looks like there. But this was really cool to have a cross section where you get to see inside the subway station, all lit up with all the trains in there, as well as having a bunch of people walk on top was really cool. And the fact that, wow, like I was literally there, and you know, it actually does look like this. I remember I actually walked on the steps all the way to the right side of this model, and I remember walking down it, and I was walking around that area. So this was definitely really cool to see as well. And of course, they had to have the Shibuya crossing itself as a model. Again, I was there as well, as I showed you before. So definitely a really popular site, so that was really cool to see as well. And then after that, it was more or less done. So they have a cafeteria with a bunch of nice little glass lights on top, and they also have a model castle area as well as trains going across. So if you want to stare at that while you eat, you can do that as well. We end up getting the kind of a matcha parfait while we got to take a look at the area. Really nice lights, honestly, though. So overall, I do recommend giving this place a shot. And to the left, there was also Team Lance Planet. It was a place I considered going, but decided not to, just for the sake of time. But this is also nearby in Odaiba as well, where they have a lot of nice places to take pictures. I think there's like a bunch of like flowers and stuff. So definitely a lot of people went there as well, so that's another recommendation. I did end up going to one other place after this because we wanted to go visit an actual festival, and this one was actually in Chiyoda. So this actually takes place in a shrine, and they have a bunch of people playing music, people dancing in certain areas, and they have lots and lots and lots of lanterns, like tens of thousands, probably at least, maybe even more. And each of those lanterns have some kind of design. But one thing I want to note is this place was really crowded, and it was hot. As you keep walking through, you're just going to be swarmed by people, and not a whole lot of people were wearing traditional clothes, maybe 10% maybe, but it definitely was really nice. All the lights looked really nice, and we got to see a lot of lanterns with some really nice designs on there. Now this was only just for a few days, so we were able to get there in time for this, but there was a lot of nice picture spots to take place as well. But that's for a reason why it was super crowded in the middle. There was a bunch of people who were basically carrying the shrine from all the way to the front area to the actual shrine itself. But man, it was hot. Man, it was crowded. I actually didn't even get any food there because it was just so hot and crowded, and the lines would probably take hours. But that was overall a pretty fun experience to experience this Matsuri, and I was glad to be able to do it. I just wish there was less people and it was less hot. But that would wrap up day 4, so let's move on to day 5. So we get to what is my favorite day of all the days, and that was the trip to Numazu. Now, to get to Numazu from the Tokyo area, it's going to be about 2.5 hours by train. So it's definitely going to take a little while to get there, and it's a lot of spread out stuff there, so you're not going to actually be able to really take the train once you get there. But on my way to there, of course, I quickly knew that I have arrived to Numazu, as there was a lot of advertisements for Numazu, which was actually celebrating its 100th anniversary. So you see this plastered all over the place with, of course, one of the big icons for Numazu, which I'm getting a sign that it might have been someone's birthday around the time when I came, because I saw a few of those advertisements out there. But as we could go to see there, they had a lot of advertisements for Love Live Sunshine, but as well as the Yohaname coming up. And I saw the exit to the stations had a bunch of these stickers for each of the individual girls, so I took a picture of all of them. They're all kind of messed up, but that's all of them if you want to see. Right from the get-go, from leaving the station, you could just see the impact that Love Live Sunshine has on Numazu. They, of course, had collaboration with the JR Rail, but it's just everywhere, and that's part of the reason why people do come here. You know, it worked for me, and it definitely works for a lot of people around here. But we see right from the get-go, including right when you get outside, I would straight up see buses and some taxis that had advertisements for the Yohaname as well. There's this cafe right outside of the station, but I'll get to it later. I came back for that for dinner. But as I walked around, it was clear how much of an impact Love Live had. So I went and took this bus to get down to the more middle part of Numazu, where you can see this bus was loaded with advertisements for Love Live. You have a bunch of the individual girls that you can see on this bus. Not all buses are like this. Some don't have any Love Live on it, but some do have Love Live, so I guess take those if you want. But there's a few different styles. But I took this all the way to get to here. So one of the first things I saw right when I got here is, this looks familiar. So yeah, the shiny liner. So this is for helping people to get to the hotel on the island, which I'll talk about soon enough. It looks like they got inspiration from the flying van from the anime. So I went and got to this area. And what is this place? Well, this is the Awashima Marine Park ticket counter. This is basically how you get to this island, which will have a bunch of locations that I saved, this is Awashima Island. This is a great spot for you to visit if you want to hit a bunch of spots for Love Live Sunshine quickly. But to get there, you had to go and buy some tickets here. And inside there, I was suddenly plastered with just a bunch of different stuff for Love Live Sunshine. They had a skill crane machine with a bunch of things you could win from them. They also had this booklet which had just a bunch of things from Love Live Sunshine, so you know you can go zoom through all of it, but they had a bunch of things for the seiyuu as well as the girls in the anime as well, so you can go spend your time looking at that. They also had the missing poster, which I really liked, as well as a lot of these posters placed around for all the girls. You can clearly see this is the reason why people will come to Awashima Island. On there, right here, they have the stamps. I'll get to tell you more about this pretty soon, but you can go ahead and plaster these on stuff, and they have a lot of cute designs. Some are for a bunch of different locations like JR Rail and whatnot. So back then I actually didn't have a booklet for it, but I'd highly recommend getting a booklet. So I ended up buying this quickly afterwards. It was like 500 yen, and you can go get a bunch of different stamps. There's a website there which I'll get to right after this, but here you go. Here's some of the stamps I collect. I think like 9 or 10, I guess I could count, but they have a bunch of different locations, so you can get a few of these just from right here. But they have a bunch of ones for different designs and different locations, one for each girl. Some stamps seem to be definitely a lot older and running out of the ability to make the ink come through, since it gets the ink dried up. So that's probably going to be the case for some of them. But I definitely recommend this because this is a fun activity that you could do in Numazu. Just probably be more prepared than I did. So let's go to that website. So here I am on the website as you saw in that booklet, and they do have an English version of the website, so this is not even Google translated. It's just I clicked English on here, and this is of course for the Numazu Machi Aruki stamps. So that's the thing that I was collecting in my book. So what was the point of this site? Well, you'll see soon enough. The whole idea is for you to collect stamps. And again, you can find those books being sold in multiple places, not necessarily where I got it, but this is going to help you show where you can get some of the stamps, and some are going to be limited time, whatnot. But here you go. This is the amount of stamps they have placed out there. So this is an interactive map, so if you really want, you can go zoom out and take a look at a bunch of the different areas of where you can get stamps and all that good stuff, especially a lot of locations that's related to Love Live Sunshine. But as you can see, some of these numbers, they go into the hundreds. So I wasn't even remotely close to collecting everything there. But you can see this is the shopping district, which is right out the train station for Numazu, which is right here. So you can get them a boatload if that's your goal, to just collect them a bunch here. I only got a few by walking around, but you can get a boatload of them here. You can find some of them down here as well for the other places you might find for Love Live Sunshine. But then a big portion of stuff that happens in Love Live Sunshine, of course, is here. This is where Chica's house is and all that good stuff. You can definitely find a lot of them on there. I actually didn't find any on the actual Awashima Island, and I guess they say that's also the case as well. So you can definitely use this map if your goal is to collect them all. I don't think you'll be able to do that, but you know, you can go try to prove me wrong. I only got like 8 or 9, but that was just what I happened to find. So this definitely could be a fun activity, but you know, there's definitely a lot out there. And no, I was not the only one to do it. I did see a bunch of other people do this as well. So I highly recommend that if you get the opportunity. But going back to this place, you gotta see a bunch of the signatures, as yes, the seiyus actually visited this place. This is the way you get to the island where a lot of Love Live Sunshine stuff has happened. So just a really nice place, but there's a ticking counter if you wanted to do that. Outside they had a vending machine where you can get drinks. The water, which is the top left area, those were all sold out, but the tea weren't, though you could buy this tea in other places as well. But this is example of one in the cans, and I got this one as well as the brown one, more or less similar designs, but I thought it was a cool thing that you can bring back home because that's a nice design. They also have a bunch of advertisements for a bunch of stuff. I didn't really care too much to do all that stuff, but here is of course the boat. They gave you some tickets, so if you want to see what some cool designs they had. But here is the boat that I took across. They come on like every half an hour or something like that. But getting onto the boat, you can see it's plastered again with the design for Love Live Sunshine. As you go walk in, yes, it says Love Live Sunshine right on top, and you can see a bunch of the girls with their designs on the boats and saying, you know, be careful and all that. But here I am taking the venture to that island. It's not that far. As you can see, it's literally that island that's showing up on your right here. So just a few minutes, but you can go around here and you can see a bunch of people have got on this boat, and there's people who go ahead and write messages on here. I think it's mostly the seiyus, and you can look and see they have the girls from each girls. You can go into the top deck if you want to, though I didn't see anyone do that, but there was a kid who decided to do that. But anyways, as you go walk through this boat, there's plenty of seating around here, and you could see a bunch of images of all the girls. So it's definitely really nice design, and you know, they even see some messages for like Azalea and all that good stuff. So definitely a nice boat to go on that was definitely Love Life Sunshine filled. On there's 2 restaurants you can go to. One was near the dock, but I didn't go to that one. I walked across, there were some penguins, and then there was the gift shop here. So I did buy a few things from the gift shop, but before I got there, I saw an advertisement for Yohane, and right next to it, they had some coins. You could buy these from the machines, but you can also buy this in the gift shop as well. So you can end up getting some special designs for the girls, which is more akin to the theme of the marine park here. So I did buy one. I bought the Yohane one because, hey, I heard it's her birthday. Thank God I had all these reminders. But we go into the shop, and there is a lot of Love Live Sunshine stuff that you can see here, especially like where we had the collaboration where each girl got a different animal. And so, you know, I thought that was kind of cute. We also had a bunch of different special items. So we of course had that Chica tea and etc. And you can see this place is plastered with a lot of Love Live Sunshine stuff, because that's why people will come here. And not to say that people wouldn't come here otherwise, but it's definitely a big reason why. They also had that missing poster, and they also had fans, which a lot of people walked around with fans, but they had the Love Live Sunshine girls designs on them. And yes, the seiyus come, they took some pictures, and so this is, I don't know, I figured I should show you because that was kind of cool. But it's definitely a great place to be able to come. I ended up getting the poster on the left and the middle because they're just clear files, but I wanted to have the missing poster, and there's the girls with designs. And this is also where I got the stamp book. You could probably buy in other places. I found some in other places in Numazu, but I figured I should have this and collect some stamps. And then, of course, they actually had some of the images of the girls, so if you're wondering who's with what, it'll show you which one. Anyways, I walked past the gift shop, and past there you get to see some seals that were doing their thing, and you see even more pictures of Love Live Sunshine, and you can see some of the stuff that they're selling at the food. This was the restaurant nearby the dock, so I did walk in out of curiosity, and you can just see there is a lot of Love Live Sunshine stuff in there. But since it was surprisingly again Yohane's birthday, they had some shrines for her and all the necessary. So I'm guessing depending on if you come around her birthday, they will change it for each girl, or maybe they only like Yohane. I couldn't confirm, but you can see it's definitely great to be able to come around their birthday. You don't have to be on their birthday. I came like almost a week or so past it, so you can definitely see a lot of nice designs. This is the one I went to. It was a smaller place, but yeah. And they also had an ice cream shop, which, yeah, it was pretty hot that day. They had some small shrine here. I don't know, I walked past that one mostly. But right next to that, we have the Blue Cave. So if you're wondering, is this in Love Live Sunshine? Of course it is in Love Live Sunshine. We had Mari and the girls walk through it, so I figured, you know, I should walk through this too. So you get to walk through it, and I have this sped up, but it only takes a few minutes to walk through. And when you walk all the way through this blue tunnel with all the lights and a bunch of the stars and such, you get to get a pretty nice view of the Awashima Naval Pier. Now, the part past me is actually chained off, so don't walk there. It's actually not very secure, so I wouldn't feel super great about walking on that. But it's definitely a really nice view, and you can walk towards the left if you really want to. But let's rewind, because I wasn't really interested in anything past there. There was something a little further to the right down that I'm more interested in, and that's the Awashima Hotel. What is so important about the Awashima Hotel? Well, if you walk up to this sign, it says the Ohara Hotels and Resorts. So yes, this is Mari's house, as you get a really nice view, and it just looks nice. Though there's a few parts I felt like they could probably be better with the maintenance for it. But as you get to see and you look up, you do get to see all of those rooms, which of course Mari was in one of them when she was growing up. But it's definitely a nice view. Here I'm by the water fountain towards the front, so you can get a nice view. And I didn't really see a whole lot of people here, but it's not exactly cheap to stay here overnight. I don't know if it was like $400 something or whatever it was, but it definitely looks nice. If you're wondering, I did walk inside, and yeah, it definitely got that luxurious feel, and maybe one day I'll give it a shot and try to stay on here. But I ended up walking back near the gift shop as I want to go to the other side, but I did quickly catch the seals doing a little trick, and in the end it did a bow and all that. So a little nice show for kids and those who like that kind of stuff. But as I continued past that, I walked to the more left side of the island, and I actually saw they have a bit of an aquarium there. Nothing too crazy, not that big, but you know, they got a lot of fish in there. I would say the thing that probably caught my attention the most is that when I went to the second floor. On the second floor, they have a really big crab. I don't know what, assuming this is a king crab, but dang, that thing was huge. Like, wow. So that was cool to see. I think it was missing one of its limbs. They also had a bunch of sand dollars and some other things lit up. I thought that was pretty cool too. But yeah, so going past that, more towards the left of the island, walking around, there was the frog house. If you're wondering what does the frog house have to do with anything, that's of course where we saw Kanan a lot. That's where she has her diving shop. But this is actually just a frog house, not a diving shop. And you can see, yes, they actually have her wetsuit out in front. I'm assuming it's wet, not dry suit. But inside, there's just frogs in there and axolotls, I think is what you call them. So if you like those kind of creatures, some of them are pretty poisonous. But yeah, they do have stuff for Kanan in there, in case if you were wondering, who is this for? It's, of course, for Kanan. And then, right next to the frog house, more to the left, we saw some penguins that were chilling out. I love myself some penguins. And there's this one penguin that was swimming into the wall, like, a lot. Like, he literally didn't stop. At least, the duration that I was there, for like a few minutes, he literally kept swimming into that wall, and he was persistent on that. But last but not least was this thing all a little more to the left of that, and that was the Awashima Shrine. So, on top of them, yes, I wanted to go see the shrine. This is the workout that some of the girls did, and dear lord, this thing was pretty brutal. I was planning to record my whole walk up there. My phone ran out of storage, so that's how long of a climb it is. I think it's like probably 20 minutes, depending on if you want to take no breaks or not. I didn't take that long of a break, so it'd probably take you about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to walk up. And man, these steps really suck because most of them were inclined upwards, and they weren't actually the most incredibly stable. But yeah, eventually you get to the top and you get greeted with the long walkway all the way to the shrine itself. It didn't help that it was really humid too, and I'm not exactly crazy out of shape, but hey, it was quite the adventure. But on top, you get to the shrine, and here of course you will see a bunch of the I forgot what you call these, but these are wooden things that you put on there, and you could buy one of these in the shop. I actually bought the Aqua one, but some other people had their own designs on there, drawing the characters and putting a note and where they are trying to say themselves, and of course a lot of them will be Love Live centric. So it's definitely really cool to see that, as a lot of people would come up here and leave their notes for good luck. But all the way into the center, you get the shrine itself, and I saw some people leaving their 1-cup sakes out there, but you can go ring the bell, do your clap and bow, and throw some coins into the shrine itself. So if you're semi-adventurous, or hopefully at least not too out of shape, you can definitely probably give this a shot. But keep in mind, it will take a while to climb it. It's not super easy. It's actually kind of annoying, and I got a lot of bug bites doing it. And then I quickly left after because the last boat I think was like 4:30 p.m. But I saw this shop, but it was closed. Unfortunate. I was curious to see what was in there. It looks like just another place you can get food, and they got a lot of designs for Love Live Sunshine, so this potentially could be a spot for you. This is by the ticket counter, so hey, that might be something that you might find interesting as well. So then I decided to walk all the way to the next areas because the bus was taking too long, and you would see the occasional stores that have a bunch of Love Live Sunshine stuff in there, like this one for example. But as I was walking across, I got to tell you something that's funny. I saw this, there's a bunch of motorcycles where they were carrying some Terranesso berries in the back. Those are the 100 centimeter ones. So I watched like 6 people biking past me with the turnip berries, and I was wondering where they're going, which apparently I guess it's here. So I thought it was really funny. I wish I could grab my phone out and catch the photos in time or video in time, but apparently there's a gang of people who like putting the turnip berries when they ride. But we continue on and eventually get to Mito Beach. So what is so special about Mito Beach? Well, Mito Beach is where Chika first met Riko, but this is also where they decided to write a bunch of names in the sand. So of course that's where Dai decides to write Aqua in the sand, and that's where the group Aqua decides, hey, that's a cool name, we should take that. So of course I didn't write Aqua in the sand. Did I write it well? I guess you can be the judge of that. I tried. It wasn't exactly the most easy. The sand was very loose, so I had to try it a lot, but I did find a big stick. But of course, it's very likely you'll see other people writing this because that's why you come for here. But the beach itself, it's alright. It's not very big, and the sand itself is not the nicest, and there's seaweed out there. But you'll always generally find a few people across here. You see the signs, so it's definitely nice, especially in fact if you want to celebrate Love Light Sunshine. I'm also surprised this is the only photo I took, so that was a little stupid of me. But I did see someone come here to cosplay as Chika and take photos here, because of course, well, like, why wouldn't you do that? But it's definitely a nice place to visit, but there are other beaches that are probably more better for beaches nearby as well. Definitely one of the nice things is that there are two things of note that are nearby. First and foremost, we have the Izu Mitoshi Paradise, which is like a few minute walk at best. And well, when I walked there, it was closed, so that's unfortunate. But hey, at least there was a stamp. But unfortunately, I can't really get too many pictures of inside. I tried my best to get something. But this is definitely a place I wish I was able to visit. So maybe if I ever come back here down later, that'd be great. So walking a little backwards to here, it's literally across from that beach. It is the Yasudaya Inn. What is so special about this? Well, this is where Chika lives. So you can see as there's a lot of striking similarities, but the problem is it's a little expensive. 310 per night is what I was told. So I didn't stay there. So it's definitely a little pricey. Maybe one day I'll try just for one night, especially if you want to stay in Numazu. But of course, they had shiitake in there and a lot of advertisements to Love Light Sunshine. So I'm sure that's why some people would stay here. It's because of that. And being able to draw parallels to that, it's going to be very appealing to a lot of potential people who want to stay there. Anyways, the buses don't run for that long, so I had to go all the way back, and I went to that Sunshine Cafe, which of course is extremely Love Light Sunshine themed, but with some Yohanami flavor in there as well. So here's a quick look at the menu. Some things were unfortunately sold out, but I went and decided to go in because, you know, why else would you come to Numazu, right? It's for Love Light Sunshine. So I went inside and it is filled with Love Light stuff. So this is a great spot for you to go ahead and visit. They have occasional TVs playing some videos from the anime. They do sell some Love Light merch here, not that much, but they have some gachapon, and you can buy some of the drinks, as I said, as well. I believe you can buy the booklets here too if you want the stamps. So I definitely recommend that if you are interested in that. You can buy some towels and etc. So there's definitely a lot of stuff out here. And of course, yes, they do have, again, something to celebrate Yohana's birthday. I think they're trying to tell me something here. But here, of course, is another look at the menu. I think I got Yo's drink here. But then I went and walked in, and you get to see the eating area. And they had another shrine for Yohane as well. So they definitely have a bunch of stuff in there, and some for cooking on there as well. But you can go and sit around. They said you could take photos, not videos. So I took a bunch of photos of the stuff around here. And you could see a lot of references to the anime as you listen to some of their solo song concerts being played. And yes, they had the Yo omelet. That was unfortunately no longer being available because it was sold out. But they did have that there. They had Mari's cooking as well, which was interesting as well. And some poster files, a lot of posters of the girls as well. Some of them were having some of the signatures on them as well as some notes. So I'll try to display those soon for you guys to read as well. I saw they had plates where they had all the girls' signatures because yes, the girls did come to this restaurant. So that's great to see that they were able to participate a lot of things in Numazu, which was nice to see. We also got the uchi and the shiitake dog. And they also had this poster where you had some cutouts where this was a reference to Chica when she decided to wear the Mika. So of course, I had no choice but to do it myself, so there you go, there's me in that as well. But we hear some of the messages as the girls where they visit the Sunshine Cafe. I guess it's 2017 for some of these girls. So here's some of the messages, so if you want to read those. And in the middle they have an area where they have a bunch of pictures of the girls, as well as the spot where you would get some water if you want that as well. So of course there is just a boatload of stuff, and yes, since of course it was Yohane's birthday, you definitely see a wall for a bunch of messages for Yohane. So this is a wall where people leave post-it notes for messages. A good amount of them were more about Yohane's birthday, but there's a bunch of other more generic messages. But my food adventure came, and every time you order something, they will give you a coaster. So for the drink, I got one of these, and then for the food, I ended up getting that black pasta for Yohane. It was pretty decent actually. And they also gave me another coaster and this image as well. So hey, some free stuff for going here. But they also had one bus sign for Ueno Girls High School, which I thought was pretty cool as well. So definitely a place I would highly recommend visiting. After that, I walked around, got some stamps, and just saw a few places that were advertising a bunch of things for Love Live Sunshine. I went into the shopping street, and the shopping street had a bunch of stuff there as well, and they had some of the manhole covers with some of the girls. I didn't find all of them, but those are ones I did find. But yeah, that was pretty fun. I didn't find any stamps on there, but maybe that's because everything was basically shutting down at that point, and we're starting to get to the last train. But that would be my day for Numazu. It was a lot of walking, as you're very reliant on buses, and buses don't go for that long. So I would definitely be careful when you come here. So if you want to just spend one day, please do come early, because you can see a lot of stuff here, and if you are too late, you will unfortunately miss some stuff out there. And that was the case for me. This is still very much my favorite day from the trip to Japan, but unfortunately I couldn't do everything. I could not see the school that inspired Ueno no Hoshi. I did not go to the Mito Sea Paradise, which was a little unfortunate. I did go to Aoshima, so it's not the end of the world, but that was more of a traditional aquarium, while the one I visited was more out in the open. They're both different experiences, but if you can only visit a few stuff, I would probably recommend Aoshima Island the most, because that's where you get to see a bunch of the stuff for Love Live Sunshine out there, and that island is like really Love Live Sunshine focused, while areas in Numazu do have a lot of Love Live Sunshine stuff. Like, it is hard not to find something poking at that, but you know, they're kind of more clustered to areas that were definitely referenced to that. So if you are looking for a place that is really Love Live flavored, Numazu is your place. Numazu is really focusing on Love Live Sunshine, because that's why a lot of people come to Numazu. Numazu is by its nature, is very much a fishing town, and since the past few decades, those kind of towns, more and more people leave for cities like Tokyo, where it's bigger. So these places that are much smaller struggle to get people to come, and the fact that Love Live Sunshine is really popular, it was really great to see that a lot of people get more interest in a place like Numazu, which is a lot smaller. Like, it literally worked for me, and I'm not even in Japan. I'm from America. So they really grabbed hold on that, and I think that's a very wise decision, because it brings interest for people, and tourism is really helpful for that place. Like, if you looked at the island and remember all those photos I showed you, that showed you how important Love Live Sunshine is, and that's why people came in there. Like, I literally, while I was waiting for the boat, I heard people talking about Yohane and people talking about Love Live. That's how important it is, because I don't think a whole lot of people would be super crazy interested about that island if there wasn't a reason or something pulling them there. You know, anime is definitely something that can really attract people to come there, and that definitely worked for a lot of people. But this is probably, if you're only going to visit one place in Japan, but you really want to visit something that is strictly Love Live, this is probably where I would tell you to go, because this place is very much Love Live. If you're looking for a more generic anime place with some Love Live flavor, I guess Akihabara could work. but that doesn't have a whole lot of Love Live flavor to it. It's just anime, and because it's Love Live's anime, you'll find stuff there. But this place truly has Love Live all over it, and that's definitely one of the reasons I highly recommend going to Numazu if you can. Yeah, so there's not a lot that happened on day 6, mainly because I was absolutely wrecked by Numazu and my energy was mostly gone, but I did visit Tokyo Ramen Street. This is in the Tokyo Station, just in the basement. So if you go there, this could be a definitely cool place. There's a bunch of different restaurants for ramen, and who doesn't like ramen? So here is an image, and they just have a bunch of different styles. So I decided, yeah, let's get some ramen. There's me eating the ramen. Pretty good ramen. I heard Japan's pretty good at that. Also nearby there was a Kirby Cafe. I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. And then we walked to the Pokemon Cafe, and that's also right next to Pokemon Center. And I really want to get in, but it's reservation only, except the reservations, when they open, they close in like a millisecond because that's how many people are trying to get in. So unfortunately I couldn't get in, so all I did was stare at it in sadness. But that would definitely be a really cool place to go as well. But instead I went to the Pokemon Center. They had these in a bunch of different places, but you know, I figured why not. It's right there. So they had this glass wall that had a bunch of different things from all the different generations of the game. They had a bunch of videos and images. So I thought, oh, that's pretty neat. I probably just took a video, but I didn't, because I'm smart like that. But inside it was nothing too great special, just a note at Pokemon Center, a bunch of plushies and all that. But at the end of the day, I basically slept because I was really, really tired. And then when I woke up, it was basically dinner time, so we were just lazy. Went to McDonald's because I wanted to try the Samurai Mac. I didn't go to Japan and just eat McDonald's, but I wanted to try the Samurai Mac to see how is it different from the Big Mac. It was actually pretty good. I kind of like it more than the classic Big Mac. The meat got different flavored, and it feels like a little higher quality McDonald's. Not that McDonald's is high quality. Would I go out of my way to go for it? Probably not, but hey, I was curious, so, you know, sure. Not too bad of experience, honestly. I would be down to eat more of those in the future. But, yeah, that's it. That was day 6, so let's move on to day 7. On the 7th day, the biggest thing that I did was visit Tokyo Tower. So Tokyo Tower, yeah, I guess it's kind of like the Eiffel Tower, but it's located in Tokyo, and it's something I figured I want to visit because it gives you a nice view of this city, and it wasn't that crazy far from where I was staying. And one happy accident is that actually at the time that I came there was a collaboration with Love Live. This was a coincidence. I did not plan for this initially. I wanted to go visit this, but I saw there was a collaboration there, so I really did have to go. So I did delay coming here for that collaboration. And you can see from the get-go, they had signs for each of the girls there. So I decided to go onto the main deck. There's 2 levels you can go. You have to pay more for the higher one, so I just went for the one below that. But you can still get really nice views of the city going around here. So you can go around there. They have a gift shop and everything, and you just get a nice view of a bunch of the city. In fact, you can see all the way back there. Oh look, it's Odaiba with the Niji Bridge, or the Rainbow Bridge. So it definitely was really cool to see that. I'm guessing you can get a little better views if you go higher up, but it's still a nice place. They had a shrine that there was right there. Want to go do that, but you get a good 360 view of a bunch of cities around there. And I gotta see Umi here as well. There was also this thing, Namonhichi, or whatever you call this. That thing's, I don't know, it almost looks a little cursed to me. That thing was really weird for sure. One of the things that I found pretty cool is that on the floors they had a bunch of images of the views of the towers at certain points of time. I know the quality isn't great, but that looked really cool, so I really appreciated that. And then I also saw they had some glass that you wanted to, so if you want to see what is the view beneath you, you can go ahead and take a look. And you know, that's kind of cool. I saw some kids trying to stomp on it. What, are you trying to break that? But they thought that was fun. And oh look, there's Nico as well. Once you go down the floors to the 2nd floor, they had a bunch of shops, so if you wanted to buy some stuff there for anime merch as well. But for the actual Love Live collaboration, they're in the basement, and they have a bunch of stuff that you can get there. They had a bunch of images and a bunch of things you can win if basically a lot of stuff was gacha, and I don't think you could really buy a whole lot, but I had a bunch of things for Muse, so I thought that was pretty nice. As for the thing that was kind of the big thing they wanted you to do was a puzzle, and basically it was, can you find the images of the girls? So the Honoka one, the Umi one, the Nico one, these are ones that I actually found by myself without actually knowing how to do this, what I was supposed to do. I just took pictures of it because, hey, it's Love Live, I gotta take pictures of. So they wanted to tell you what floors these girls were located, and the only one I was missing was Haneo, so I had to go back and find what Haneo is. She was in the food court, whatever, it was like the second or third floor. So that was my initial guess, especially because they asked where Haneo was. I'm like, I bet she's by the food court, which I ignored initially because I wasn't hungry at that time. So I found her there, and you win a few prizes, nothing too crazy special, like some bookmarks, you get a bag, and some other small trinkets. But, you know, it was fun. I don't know if it was really worth the monetary value, but I figured, why not? I'll support Love Live. Then we went to the Tokyo Dome City. I guess they had the Hall of Fame there. It's a big stadium, a bunch of stores for the Giants, and they also kind of have the amusement park nearby. Didn't go to it, but just walked around. But I wanted to go back to visit Akihabara, as I mentioned earlier, and I wanted to visit some things there. First and foremost, I wanted to visit the Kandamyoden Shrine again, but in daytime, so I could see when it was in the gift shop. It's a nice gift shop. There's a bunch of stuff in there. You can buy your amulets, and they had some collaboration with Hololive, and they have a place where you can go sit down and eat for a cafe. I was wondering to see if Love Live still persisted here. The answer is no. I don't see much of Love Live, at least through the official places. Yes, there are still people who go and put those wooden things around here for sure, and you see the occasional Nozomi and etc. So that's nice, but it's nowhere near what the peak used to be, say, if you go back 10 years or so. But here's just some pictures of the place in the day, which is nice, and here are the stairs in the day. Then I went to visit the arcades again because I wanted to go win some prizes. I got a few old retro games because I figured I like video games, and I visited this one place where they had a Love Live floor, so I was like, ooh, what's here? There's some stuff here for Love Live. They have these out here. I actually got the Kanata. I bought it. I didn't actually play the crane here, but I did win this. This is a brand new thing for the pillows. It's kind of a small pillow. You can fit it, but it's not very fluffy. But it was for the Yohaname, so I had to get it. And then I finished the day with some yakiniku barbecue. So that was day 7. For day 8, I went to Ueno to visit the Ueno Zoo, and that was mostly what I did for the day. So inside that zoo, you could see very much a lot of the animals you might see in other places. We got to see some monkeys that were kind of noisy. I don't think I really caught in this recording, but some of them they did not know how to shut up. And then there was a bunch of other things there. Once I got to one area, they had a place loaded with lily pads, so this definitely would be a nice place to take a picture. But the primary purpose of coming here was for the pandas, which is what they really advertise. They have twins, so you can definitely go watch them. They had some, I think, baby pandas, but we were too late to get in that line, so we had to resort to getting to these pandas, and that's not something you could see so easily in America. So we were definitely really excited to see pandas. This one is the other panda. They're twins. One's male, one's female. I don't really remember the names, but they're definitely one of the big attractions for this zoo here. But there was also plenty of other animals. We saw some penguins. I love myself some penguins. They were just chilling. It was a pretty hot day, so they're definitely trying to chill and cool off. And I saw some penguins jump a little bit into the water, but they didn't seem like they were that crazy interested in swimming. But, you know, penguins doing penguin things and all, and trying to beat the heat. Then saw some flamingos. You know, they said they make those mounds in the back. That's where they store their young, I believe. So they had those, and I also was very curious to see red pandas, because, you know, you don't really see those that very often. So it was nice to be able to see some red pandas, and they look cool, honestly. You don't see those that often. So I was really glad to see those. But then we had some a bunch of other animals that we saw inside the building, where you can see a bunch of different mammals. You can see things like the cats, the meerkats, I believe is what I showed earlier. And then they have the underground section. This is for more nocturnal animals that seen more in the dark, so they have a red tent line instead. And you can see things like armadillos and a bunch of other more nocturnal animals like this almost mouse-like creature. I couldn't remember what it was called. Then walked out back inside. It was some kind of governor's bird or whatever they call it. This one was just picked up the stick and was bringing it somewhere. I couldn't figure out where, but it was determined to carry it somewhere, and just kept walking around with that for like a few minutes. But also in here they had this really nice building. This was gifted from Thailand. There was this monkey who just chilling and just staring at whoever walked by him. And then there was also another one that was just chilling on those stairs. You know, same, honestly. It's a hot day, people just want to chill. And they had this big pagoda as well. So you can get some nice pictures with some of these things. These are literally inside the zoo itself. And then you see some torii gates. And then this was actually for the food court. They had a panda bread. So I think that would be pretty cute. And also got that cup in the back with some desserts in there. That was pretty cool as well. Outside that, I saw this nice little snow globe mug out from Starbucks. Pretty cool. But it was like $30 something, so it's not exactly the cheapest, but it definitely was cool. And then when I left the zoo, I saw this place called Kotori Cafe. But I should mention that. And then there's just some nice building. I wasn't sure what this was, but it looked nice. And that was pretty much it. There was a sunset, and there was this wall with some manga plastered on it. But yeah, that would end day 8. For day 9, I visited Yokohama to visit 2 different ramen museums. The first one, which is here, it's just a general kind of more ramen museum. In the most bottom floor, they have this really cool area where they have a bunch of buildings that represents kind of like more of an old traditional style ramen place. And there's a bunch of different ramen restaurants out there, each one with their own different styles. So some people just go here just for the ramen and just eat there. So I definitely highly recommend that. If you're going to this place, go to the bottom floor and try one of the different types of ramen from different eras. And then if you go a little more up in the middle floor, they have these cool hallways where there's a few shops there, and they got the old kind of style from, I don't know, whatever era it was. I also saw this YYY poster. Made me think of YYY. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but it was cool. And there's like a few shops here, but pretty small and minor. As you move your way more up, you get to see a lot of old bowls as well as the actual history. This is the museum part of it. This is the main floor. So you can go and read the history. And they do have translated English with a few typos. But they talk about the whole history and things like sukumen and cup ramen. This is probably one of my favorite things on this main floor, is that they had this cool little metal architecture with a bunch of bowls of ramen from all the different places in Japan. This map basically shows, ramen is just not ramen. There's a bunch of different styles, broths, noodles, and they have that kind of computer to the side so you can tap on it, and it can give you a little brief talk about a bunch of different things. And there's a gift shop behind us. To the right, they have this lab where you can design your own ramen. You tell them what kind of noodles, what kind of toppings, what kind of cover you want, and they'll make that cup ramen bowl for you. So if you want to go and make it for your friends, you can, and design it and bring it home and go ahead and eat it. So that was pretty cool. On the way to the other cup ramen place, I saw the Pokemon Center in Yokohama. I visited like 4 of them, and they had an arcade nearby, so I went and messed around there. And then continuing my walk, I saw this Anpan Man museums for kids. I didn't go, but I walked by and was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I got to see a bunch of the apartments, and I quickly walked by the Yokohama Cosmo World. It's an arcade area, or more of a amusement park, I should say. And they have a big wheel there, so potentially for some people are interested in that as well. So then I finally get to the Cup Noodles Museum for Yokohama. This is strictly focusing on cup noodles, unlike the other place, which is just ramen in general. So here this goes over a lot of the history of how the cup noodles was created. So they had this first area where they just have the history of the instant ramen, which of course includes cup ramen, but also includes all the other ones you make in packets as well. They just have walls filled with these. There are like hundreds and hundreds of different types of ones that they displayed on here. So they can see, yeah, there are a few different types of ramen, surprisingly. Well, once you go past this, you get to the actual museum place. This is the house where cup ramen was essentially invented, or rather instant noodles. So you can see this is basically a model of that. And then you go to a bunch of walls where it kind of explains the history of how the instant ramen was made. I'm sure if you want, you can go Google Translate what's on the screen or read Wikipedia, but more or less the gist is that he wanted to make some noodles that were instant, but in order to figure that out, he basically saw his wife who was making tempura, which was how she fried stuff, and he saw you can do that with noodles. And then he started starting in the packet, and then someone ended up taking the packets and putting it in a cup and chopping up when he visited America, and saw him put in a cup and says, "Whoa, you can make this portable." So then suddenly we had portable noodles, and he talked about engineering of how do you put the noodles in there a certain shape, how do you deal with all that stuff. It was definitely a pretty cool story how he ended up getting to where we are and how big of a brand it is today. They even talked about, oh, we brought it to space. They also had this piece of artwork, which I thought was kind of cool, so I pretend to hold it. And they even showed like how big it is in a bunch of places. It's pretty big in Asian countries. Who could have guessed? But it's also big in a lot of other places as well. I mean, hey, they even brought it to space, so there you go. So they talked about how he was like one of the most influential people of all time because of that, and I mean, it definitely was a big impact there. They did have some area where you can design your own cup. I didn't really do that. There was also an area where kids could play. There's a little park that was kind of a factory. I'm not kids, so I didn't play there, but this is definitely probably something I would recommend to all of you here. So here you can order some noodle dishes from a bunch of different countries around the world, a lot of Asia, but it's basically almost like their version of ramen. So of course, if you go from Japan, you can get ramen. If you go to Italy, I think you get spaghetti or something like that. Korea, I think it was naengmyeon. Pho, I think was Vietnamese, but you know, that Malaysia, Iran or something. Basically a bunch of different places out there. So you can go to each individual location, order the noodles as well as some other dishes, as well as some smaller stuff. Anyways, don't quote me on the countries, but here I went to the Japan one. I wanted to try the traditional cup ramen experience, and you know, it was not that bad actually. It was pretty decent, so I could see why a lot of people liked it. And here was the outside of the museum, and then I went and visited this area. So there's just a bunch of different stores in there. It's a shopping mall that basically, I guess this was some kind of train station factory, whatever it was back in the day, but they basically repurposed it, and you can just go buy a bunch of stuff in there or eat food. So it's a nice area to hang out, you know, kind of like a small mall. So it was nice there, and they had a nice view of the city, which lights up at night. So I ended up taking a few photos of that, and as well as a few areas walking around the town at night. So I think it was pretty cool. So if you were to just visit one, my guess is you probably just visit the cup noodle one. Of course, it's up to personal preference, but that a little more stuff that was interesting to me around it. But also, I think it was a little bit better of a museum. In my opinion, of course, it was a little bigger, but there's more stuff there. But keep in mind, it is more expensive to go to the cup noodle one. If your goal is just to make your own ramen thing, you could do that at both. But I think the cup noodle one's a little more interesting. But if you're there to get meals and different types of ramen, and you want to experience that really cool under the basement, I would obviously then recommend the first one. And some people just go there just to go for food, and you can get an annual pass or something like that, and it's pretty dang cheap, and you can just go there all the time. So, you know, up to you what you want, but I would probably recommend the cup noodle one more, but you know, there's a price to that. Of course, you could just go visit both, but they're not that crazy close. You're gonna have to do a little bit of traveling, and the other one's a little bit more just kind of in the city, while this one's by the seaside and a bunch of other stuff close around there. And you know, maybe you want to go to Cosmo World or something like that. So up to you, but that's just my personal recommendation. And with that, we go to the final day, day 10. So this is the last day for me, the day I actually went on a plane to fly back. But this was in Asakusa, mostly. So actually, first there was something in Chiyoda City that was the Imperial Palace. I quickly walked around there. There's a lot to walk around, but you get it. I only got to see the outside of it. It's a pretty big palace. Plenty of walking around, a bunch of people there. It was really hot as well. I thought I took more photos, but clearly I didn't. I don't know why. But hey, it's a nice place to visit. And then I walked through a park as well. And I walked past this, the Kanadori as well. But anyways, to actual Asakusa, there's a Hosomono gate. You get a walk here. A bunch of different shops that lead you to the Sensoji Shrine Temple here. So I did this, if you're wondering. Basically, you pay a little fee to donate. You get a stick. The stick will tell you the number. You go to the number on one of these drawers. Pull out the drawer. You take out the top sheet. I'll either say good luck, normal luck, or bad luck. If it's bad luck, you tie it. If it's good luck, you get to keep it. I believe I got the average fortune, so I guess I kept it. So, something nice to do. Not crazy expensive. But then after that, I decided to head back. And this is the thing I mentioned before, if you remember. This is the cruise. So you can take a cruise all throughout the river, the Sumida River, I believe it is. And you could definitely take this to go to Odaiba or Odaiba to Asakusa. So potentially, if you want to do a little combination, you can do Asakusa to Odaiba to get a little bit of both of the areas and go across the river and get a nice look at a bunch of the bridges going across. So I took it back near to Odaiba, and you get to see the Nichi Bridge once again. And well, that's pretty much it. I covered most of the big stuff. I didn't want to necessarily cover every small store I visited, and I don't even have photos for everything. Probably should have took more photos and videos, honestly, but hopefully that gave you a good idea of a lot of the stuff that I did in Japan. So of course, if you guys have questions, I'll try to answer a handful of them down below, but I did ask some of you beforehand, so I'm going to go answer some of those in the Q&A. So the first one asked me, what was the difference between my expectations of Numazu and what I actually saw? So one of the things that I was very familiar with Numazu is, of course, that Numazu, it got a lot of draw from Love Live Sunshine, and there's a lot of points there, but the one thing I really wanted to see was how much. And I was expecting, like, it's an anime. An anime, it's probably more popular in Japan, but like how much? I'm sure it means a lot to the city, but it's just an anime, and I think most people wouldn't care. Yeah, I was wrong about that. There is a lot, and I do mean a lot, of Love Live Sunshine there. Yeah, I expected to see maybe a bus or two, and I thought, it's been a while since Love Live Sunshine really was in its peak in terms of the anime coming out and all that. I know they still perform a lot well, but I thought, there wouldn't be as much there, dying down, and maybe a few leftover buses that had it. But no, you go today, Love Live Sunshine is everywhere. It is popular. It is dominant. You'll see it everywhere you go. It is so hard to miss. Of course, it's more focused in some more central areas. It's definitely around the Numazu station. It's around that street. They have a bunch of stuff around there, but you have to go more to the area I went, where you could see a little more Love Live Sunshine down there, and it's scattered around. You're not gonna see it everywhere in Numazu, but my goodness, is Aqua huge there, and that was probably the biggest thing that I didn't expect, honestly. So that was really cool to see. Alright, so for these questions, my favorite place to visit and least favorite place. My favorite place to visit probably will be Numazu, as I said before, though honorable mention to Akihabara. That's some place I'd definitely like to return. For least favorite, I don't really have a least favorite. Like climbing up the shrine in the Aoshima Island, that was annoying and painful, but that was also because it was hot. I don't know if I want to say my least favorite. It was a pain though, for sure. For merchandise, I'll show it after this comment, so I'll come back to that. Do you have any plans to return? I would love to return. I don't want this to be a one-time only thing, so yes, I don't have any current plans for that, because who knows when, but I definitely would like to do that. My favorite memory, I don't know what my favorite memory. There are definitely a lot of memories I had, like walking and seeing that street for the first time for Akihabara, and walking out on the station Numazu was great. Be able to see, wow, there's so much Love Live stuff here. That was really, really cool to see. And of course, winning the prizes from the skill crate machines, you were like, yes, finally I beat the stupid machine. Those were pretty good moments for me. How much did my trip cost? I don't have a great number, and I don't want to spend too much time digging up. But for 2 people, we had the hotel and plane flights. That was a few $1,000s to do that. And then, you know, all the merch and going around trains. It definitely, I don't know, $5,000, $7,000. Let's just say something like that. I don't have a great number for that. And did you do anything special for Love Live while you're there? This whole video? Does that cover that? Anyway, let's go to the merch. Alright, so you asked for merch. Here's a bunch of the stuff that I got. I could have technically put it in other sections, but lazy, and I don't really have a good setup to show you, but you know, here's some stuff. This is the roasted tea version of that cup that I showed from before. So like Hocha or whatever they call it, I can't remember. But they have this one here, so had to get this one. This is a Ditto. It's a big plush Ditto that I won in a skill crate machine. They got Pokemon Center in Yokohama. I won this one. Pretty happy about that one. I bought this used in Akihabara, I believe. And it was like, what, 800 yen? These usually go for a lot, depending on which one it is. Some people try to sell for like 30, 40 something bucks, but I got one of the cheaper ones. I actually haven't put in batteries in here yet. Maybe at some point. But I always wanted one of these. See how that goes. This is the thing that I got from Harajuku with that pop-up shop for, you know, I guess I should have showed us earlier. But it's just an acrylic stand. But I got the one for May, because why not? I got this from a secondhand store. Also in Yokohama. Just try to find a nice one for not too expensive. Secondhand stores are really nice. And you can get things for pretty cheap. I found this used. I think Akihabara. So this is just a Love Live Blu-ray. I haven't owned this one yet. So I figured, hey, someone selling for that little, I'll buy it. So got 2 Nesaberries for used. Got Sumina and Kano. Figured why not. This is what I got in Numazu in that shop. It's kind of hard to see inside, but this is just one for Aqua. So you can hang this up and ride it. But I wanted to have one from home. Got a Pokemon store, the Fuecoco. Just, I don't know, it's an apple Pokemon I liked. I also got a Piplup, Psyduck or Owlduck, Pochama for Piplup and Jirachi. They have so many different Pokemon, so I kind of wanted to get a few. I like them. Got this from secondhand store. This is from Mawaru Penguin Drum. Number 2 penguin. I like penguins. So, had to get this guy, because I didn't know they had this kind of merch. You got your... Someone selling it. I believe also Akihabara. Secondhand store. Figure, hey, yeah, why not? There's this. So she's from Kimetsu no Yaiba. Is it Shinobu, I believe her name is? They were basically selling this for like, I don't know, 10 bucks or less. Whatever the price was. So I decided to buy one. I actually got this in Odaiba. This is the Kanata I was talking about earlier. The one in the skill crate machine. This one I just straight up bought. I could have tried to go win it, but sometimes it's cheaper just to buy it if you suck. Like, it kind of suck. I also got this really big, long penguin pillow. This was a skill crate machine as well. But it covers a handful of the merch I got. Not everything, but most of the other things I already covered earlier. I also have this coin I can show you. So that's the coin that I got from the store from Numazu. They had one for each girl. So I figured, why not? Cool coin. So the next question is asking me, how do you feel about your skills in the Japanese language, and how different would the trip feel in any way with different skill levels, better and worse? My skill level isn't that great. I have the ability to read hiragana, katakana pretty well, kanji not so much, and my ability to say stuff is very limited, so it doesn't make a dramatic difference. I could communicate things pretty simply, but as soon as they ask me a question and try to go to a conversation level, I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know, man. So it helped me to have more confidence in where I'm going, reading station signs. That's what it helped me do, but I don't know if it would be so dramatic that it made a huge difference. Of course, it would be nice if I knew more, for sure, because there were a few times where I was kind of lost. I was trying to communicate with someone, but I couldn't really communicate it that well, so it took some real effort to get past that. So, was it hard adjusting to Japan's culture and your experience? And of the Love Live related destinations, would you like the most? So I already answered for the second one, Numazu. It's the best. Probably second is Akihabara, but that's more of just anime in general. So there's that. Odaiba doesn't really have anything that's truly that Love Live related. It's just, it has Tokyo Big Sight, which is cool. As for, was it hard adjusting to Japan's culture? Not really. I've been to Korea plenty of times, and it's not that different. Of course, there's more anime stuff here in Japan, but it's not like they don't have that in Korea. So I more or less got a pretty good gist of how it is. You know, it's nothing that's too bizarre to me whatsoever. Pretty easy for me to adjust. But it, of course, is different from America. If I went back to Japan, is there something that I did on this trip that I would do again? Yes. I would go back to Numazu again, mainly because I missed some stuff. At least I would like to. I don't know if I can convince other people to do that. I would definitely visit Akihabara again. There's going to be new stuff there every single time. I would visit it all the time. Those are probably the main things I would redo on a trip back. There might be some other things I might do as well, but those are definitely the main things I would do for sure. So the next question, would you recommend Japan as a good place to go on a trip? Yeah, of course. To an anime fan, of course, yes, that's a really easy recommendation. Japan's Anime Central. But there are a lot more stuff to do than just beyond, especially if you're going with a group of people. There are a lot of places I showed you as well that you can go visit, and I didn't even visit all of them there, but there are a lot of wide variety of places with a bunch of different things you can do, and is nice for a bunch of different activities. How did you hold up with the hot weather, or was it not that bad? Any places you would visit again, or the opposite, places that you only visit once and not again? So, it was hot. In temperatures in Fahrenheit, it was always in the 90s. With humidity, which there was a decent amount of humidity, it was generally in the 100s. So, yeah, it sucked. It did. Some days there was like a day or two that was not that bad, but most days were not great. It was hot. Hydrate a lot. Other places you visit again? Yes, I already said that earlier. Numazu, I would definitely go. I would also like to potentially go to Akihabara again. I'll probably visit that a lot as well. Beyond that, we'll see. It depends who comes, and I wouldn't mind seeing some other areas, but those are the ones I would probably prioritize the most. As for places I probably wouldn't necessarily visit again, I don't know if I will necessarily visit some of the Love Live stuff again, because I saw it once. I don't have a big reason to go again. Like some places in Akihabara, there is the Meiji Shrine. I already been there. I don't see a big reason to go there again. So, not that I don't like them, it's just I kind of did it, and I don't see how it would be that different. If, you know, other people really want to go and they're in my group, I'll go again. I don't have anything against it. But, you know, I already been there, so it's kind of like, I satisfied. But if you guys really want to go, I'll go again. That's more or less how I feel about most places here. For 1 to 10, how much do you choose after going to places that are iconic in Love Live, and what's your favorite place? It definitely had a decent impact, but I didn't necessarily just go way on way depending on how iconic it is. For example, I didn't go to the school for Muse. That was just way out of its way, and there wasn't a whole lot of stuff nearby it. So, as long as there was stuff that either A, that place by itself was really cool, or there's a bunch of other stuff nearby that was also cool. I try to make sure, you know, I'm not going way out and way to scare places because it's just not convenient. It's not efficient in terms of time. And I want to do it for 10 days, not 10 years or 10 months. So I want to make sure I was able to get a wide breadth of stuff. So I'll probably say 6 or 7. It was definitely something I did do, and I made sure I saved a bunch of places. But if it was way out of my way, I wasn't going to do it, even if it was semi-important. Unfortunately, like things like Aqua School, that did not make it because that was way out the way, unfortunately, and buses were closing and no longer running soon, so that was unfortunate. How was the food and the food service? I heard both really good and bad things about both depending where you go, wanting to know my experience. I mean, from my experience, I didn't see anything that was bad. I usually don't see anything really that bad in America, but I guess that really depends on where you go. The nice thing is you don't have to tip. There's no tipping culture in Japan. That's an American thing. So, you know, things are just cheaper in terms of the price for food. And there's always a general higher level of politeness for most places. There were some places where it wasn't as much, but nothing I would say that was bad. The food was, you know, great everywhere I went. And some places were honestly kind of not too bad in terms of price. So I definitely ate out a lot because it's way cheaper than America. And the last one is, did you speak Japanese there, and what did you learn after the trip? Yes, I spoke some Japanese to the best of my ability, which is not that much, honestly. But, you know, if it was something simple, they asked, what do you want to order? I would tell them in Japanese. And they would ask for how many people, I would say 1. And that was kind of it. And yeah, you know, it wasn't that crazy impressive. No conversation, really, because I'm not very capable of that. And what did I learn? Well, I kind of learned that how important Love Live Sunshine was to Numazu, and I learned how the train system worked because I wasn't really sure how that was. It's kind of very similar to what I had in Korea. Very, very great transportation system. America sucks. And, you know, a lot of the things people talked about was more or less true that I've seen. And it's just a great place to visit. Though a lot of the places that I would see people talk about and doing in videos, like if you go watch all those guys and like Trash Ace and such, you can see some of these places. They're actually smaller than I thought they were, especially like Akihabara. I thought like that big street that extended so far and it's like so many levels and there's so many tiers of skill cranes machines. That's not really the case. It's nowhere near as much. It's nowhere near as deep. And I thought there was like 10 floors and 300 machines every floor, but that's not how it works at all. So I thought that was the case, but I was wrong about that. But the nice thing about Japan is anime stuff is a lot cheaper and way more plentiful there. So if you're definitely a weeb or someone who really likes that kind of stuff, dang, secondhand stores can be really good or really bad depending on, you know, the person who sets the price. But I got some pretty sweet deals there, which I'm pretty happy about. But, you know, Japan's definitely a great spot. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to visit everything, and I really do want to visit Kyoto someday. Just wasn't able to do it so much on this trip, so maybe sometime in the future. But anyways, that will wrap up this video. Here I'm at almost an hour and 50 minutes through. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know this is really, really long, way longer than I normally do it, but I wanted to explain as much as I can. You know, you can just skip around to the parts that you like anyways. But hopefully that will give you a good idea of what I did, and maybe that can inspire you to potentially go to some of these places. Japan is a great place to visit, and I cannot stress that enough. There is stuff that could be great for anybody, but of course, especially for this channel, and someone covers a lot for Love Live, there is still a lot there. Numazu is the best place if you want to go strictly a lot of Love Live stuff. That is the place that has the most impact, but there are plenty of other places that can go that was inspired by Love Live, but doesn't really have Love Live stuff there anymore. So yeah, and of course there's always Akihabara for just general anime stuff as well. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate those who watch, especially the ones who watch a lot of this. I really do appreciate it. Spent a lot of time trying to put this together, and I did a lot of the stuff so I could show you guys and have you guys kind of experience Japan through me. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Probably won't do anything like this soon, or maybe ever again, who knows. But I hope you guys really did enjoy this. It was definitely a really fun thing, and maybe at some point I can go back later and do this as well. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to catch you guys in another video soon.